break of dawn. Look out your window, babe, 'cause I'll be gone. You're the reason I'm traveling on. Don't think twice, it's alright. What are you people watching? What is this? This Carmine's Country Corner. There's a bunch of bees outside. They're swarming. Carmine said, they're not swimming, they're swarming. And Carmine said, I don't give a hoot. We're gonna get some friends together and we're gonna play a song. We're gonna talk, we're gonna have a conversation. I'm walking down that long and lonesome road, babe. Where I'm bound I cannot tell. They say goodbye, it's too good a word, babe. So I say fare thee well. And I ain't saying treated me unkind. You could have done better, babe, but I don't mind. You just kind of wasted my precious time. Don't think twice, it's alright. Thank you.
Sit down. Here we are at Carmine's Country Corner. Kind of a acoustic set because he told you a little bit about the bees. What happened last week real quick was we got here, the full band ready to play. Paul was here, everybody was here. And right out in front of a building, there's about a 3-inch hole up in the wall, and there's all kinds of bees. There must be a beehive in there, I guess. So I had JD here, and all the guys were here, and I said, I'm going to go in and beat the hell out of the drums and see if it bothers those guys, because if they start swarming, well, we're not doing the show. I'm not taking a chance on getting stung by a bee. Sure enough, I come in, and I'm making as much noise as I know how to make, and JD and Gary are like, stop! Don't do that! So they were getting pretty upset, weren't they, Gary?
They were indeed.
Yeah.
They were not enjoying.
They did not like my drumming at all. And I think either Tom or Paul, somebody yelled out, he's not our regular drummer. But out of here, that would have made a difference. That wouldn't have made a difference. Anyway, welcome to the show. This week we all decided, let's just go sit down with some acoustic guitars, tell some stories, get to know the guys a little better, and do a few songs. It's probably going to be mostly finding out a little bit more about Gary's background and Paul's and Tom's, and I might even tell you something about myself. I don't know.
Yeah. What don't we know about you?
Well, it's probably, we all got secrets, you know.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead, what?
See, point the camera over here.
What?
Good looking one. Now, I say about Carmine, he's the most famous, unfamous guitar player there is. Because he hangs out with all of the legendary guitar players like Albert Lee, of course, and your Elvis boy. Tell
James.
us where you met him.
James Burton.
Where you met James.
I met James years ago, and didn't get to know him real close till mid-60s is when we really started getting close. But I met him in about 59, 60 through a friend of mine's mom who did a lot of sessions, and she was friends of his. And when I told her, he's one of my idols, and he was also her son's idol, Mickey's idol. We loved James. So she knew him real well, so she introduced us, and we got to meet James Burton, and, you know.
What year was that roughly?
That was probably 59, 60.
I was born that year.
That's the year you were born.
Yeah, a couple good things
That's
happened.
funny. And I didn't meet you till years later. Anyway,
Yeah,
so.
never mind.
And when you told me some of the songs that she had sung background
Oh,
on, I
God.
flipped out.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite songs.
She would do things like this. I told Paul, she comes home one night. Mickey and I are playing, I'm like 14, Mickey's 13, you know, we're just learning to play guitar. She comes, she says, boys, she says, wait till you hear the track we cut on this new Jackie Wilson record. I said, what, really? She said, I think the song was Your Love Lifts Me Higher, that one he's saying. She's on that track. I mean, Ray Charles, you know, when he was doing, what was it, I Can't Stop Loving You, and he says, sing a song, children, and all the girls start singing. She's one of the girls. I mean, she's
And she sang on a couple of Roy Orbison songs.
Oh,
right?
Elvis, Roy Orbison.
Candyman, didn't she sing on that?
All of them.
Sandy
She
Davis
sang on
Candyman?
everything.
No,
Oh,
whole
Yeah.
different song.
all right.
This woman was just great. She was a great singer, background singer.
I must have been thinking about something else for a minute. Tell me, repeat who this woman was.
Her name was Betty Jane Race, and she was Mickey Rooney's, the movie star Mickey Rooney's second wife after he married Ava Gardner.
Ah.
She met him, and like, I think they were married like a week later or something. Mickey met Betty Jane. She was only 17, and she had just won the Miss Alabama beauty contest for the state of Alabama, and she won it in 1944. That's the year I was born.
Not too
There we go
shabby.
again.
Yeah, and then later we met up back in the 50s. I met her when I was like 13. 13 years
But she-
later, I met Betty Jane Race.
She could sing and sang with all those people.
She sang with she was one of the Anita Kerr singers. The Anita Kerr singer was on the, I think, Andy Williams show.
Well,
The
and
Gold Diggers was the Dean Martin show.
Yeah.
Had the girls. She was
Oh,
one of
yeah.
the Gold Diggers.
Yeah, the Anita Kerr singers also. They worked in Nashville all the time. They did session work. No, it's like with either the Jordanaires
Yeah.
or the Anita Kerr singers were backing up everybody.
Yeah.
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 Or the sweet
Yeah, she's got quite a. Well, she passed away. She's a lovely, beautiful blonde lady, and knew her for years. She was great. Mickey's gone. Bunch of them are gone. We're not going to talk about the ones.
But that's
who
how
are-
you met James.
Well, I
James
met
Burton.
James.
That's how the story started.
That, right?
Yeah.
How did you meet James Burton?
How did I meet him? Was through Betty Jane
Betty
Race,
Jane.
through the famous background singer.
Yeah.
She was Nat King Cole, everybody,
Oh.
Sinatra.
Well, then
She
how
did
did you
every
meet
session.
Albert Lee?
How did I meet Albert?
Yeah.
I knew who Albert was for about maybe a year or so. I think he got here in about 72 or 73, and it had to be around 74, and I was at the Palomino Club. And he was sitting there with a band, and I happened to know the band, so I walked in not knowing he was going to be there, and I just love him. I mean, he's one of my idols. And so the band leader said, "Carmine, you want to play?" I said, "I'd be honored, James at the, here I am with Albert at the Palomino Club." Huh. I set my amp up. Hey, my phone.
We take calls.
We take calls. Wait, give me that phone.
Gotta
quick,
help
before
us
it
remember
starts.
where he's at, though.
Well, I'm
Where
sorry,
was it?
folks.
Well,
I'll
my
make
phone's
it
on
quick.
too, so maybe I'll get a call.
But that's
Sardo.
Not as popular as Carmen.
No, I might call you just so you get one.
Jimmy, I got to run right in the middle of doing the show. I do take calls, but I'm going to cut this one short.
He takes calls.
Oh, that's why you're calling me. I love you, brother. I will do that right now. Thanks. Okay, buddy. Bye-bye. Ah, that's great. That was Jimmy Eaton, our steel player who plays with us all the time. I just love Jimmy. He said, don't forget to mention the 5th and the 8th of August, I will be with Jimmy and Carrie at the Black Rose Band up at the Ventura County Fair. So everybody wants to come up, say hello, that's where we're going to be. Anyway, real quick.
This is why you take calls.
I lost my place.
Oh, well,
So where was I?
You were
Betty Jane Race, Mickey Rooney Jr. and
No.
Albert Lee. I'm at the Palomino. Real quick. I set my amp up. I got my guitar.
All right.
I'm a little nervous. I mean, this guy is such a great player. So we're gonna get the set going. I plugged my amp in, and my cord had to shorten it, and the amp goes this real loud, screeching, terrible, awful sound that just shrunk me down to about this big. And I yank it out, changed the chord, but we had a great night.
Did you play? Did you end up
Oh
playing?
yeah, I played the next two sets. Well, I finished out the night, and Albert and I hit it off really good. He liked,
Apparently.
he liked what I was trying to do,
Yeah, he still does, I think.
and I love everything he does because
Yeah,
he's
he's
so
great.
good at it. So anyway, yeah, so big deal. I get to meet some people, but Paul.
Yeah.
See, we're not going to have a whole lot of time for music because now I'm going to talk a little bit about Paul. You were supposed to kind of MC this thing, and I'm kind of taking over, and I'm sorry.
This is how I work. I delegate and I go, Carmine.
It's still Carmine's Country Club.
Yes, it is.
Now I met you at that session with the people that wrote that song, My Happiness.
That's right. They didn't write it, actually. I found out that it was written in the 30s.
Okay.
They cut it in 1948.
Okay, I was 4 years old.
And it was the year before I was born.
Right.
And their names were John and Sandra Steele.
Okay.
And it was a huge hit for them. Huge. I mean, it was like, went to #1, stayed on the charts for 10 weeks. And when I met you, these people I'd been working with, Frank Farrah and Patty Parker. Frank Farrah and Phoenix, featuring Pretty Patty Parker on drums.
Good.
They had become friends with John and Sandra Steele, and they wanted to have John and Sandra recut My Happiness and try and get another hit off it. This is like 1974 or 75. When each weary
Play a little
day
bit of it.
is through. What key are you in?
D.
When each weary day is through.
Yeah, they go.
How I long to be with you, my happiness. Every night I reminisce, dreaming of your tender kiss, always thinking how I miss. And they go,
Yeah.
my happiness. They throw in an extra bar, I don't know why, half a bar or something.
And
Anyway, I had booked, so Frank and Patty, I had produced an
That's a
album
great
on Frank
story.
and Patty, so Frank and Patty said, we want you to produce this thing with John and Sandra Steele. They were gonna recut My Happiness, and they were going to do another song. We cut another side, a gospel country rock tune they'd written. It was a really good song, actually. Well,
Can I just interrupt? What year was this roughly that you're talking about?
74, 75.
Okay, go ahead.
Probably 75. I think of it as 74 because that's when I
Close
met
count.
those guys, but I think it was 75.
Okay.
So, so I called a bunch of guys I knew to play on the session, and I called Jerry Swallow.
Jerry Swallow, we love him.
What a great
What a
guitar
great
player
guitar
he was.
player and a great guy.
And he was just the guy that would have been perfect for
He
this
would have
session.
been, he's perfect.
And a week before the session, he called me back and he said, "Paul," he said, "I can't do the session. I gotta go on the road. I think with Dolly Parton or somebody."
Tanya Tucker.
Tanya Tucker.
Tanya Tucker. And I'll tell you a little about that story with Jerry. Go
So,
ahead.
so I'm like, "Jerry, what am I gonna do? You're the guy for the." He said, "I'll tell you what you do." He said, "You call this friend of mine, Carmine Sardo. He plays just as good as me, and he'll play the session for you,
Good idea.
and you're gonna be very happy." So I called you because he gave me your number, and I called you and told you about the session. You said, "Oh yeah, I'll do the session." You said, "But don't give me any of those music charts with notes and
I think that's
lines and things." You said, just give me," Carmen said, just give me a set of lyrics for the songs with, some chords written above the lyrics. Okay. So that's what I did. You showed up for the session. You nailed it. It was great.
I did a mandolin thing.
No, well, you might have done
Didn't I
it.
go-
You might have done something like that, yeah.
I
But
thought
what knocked me out was what you played on the other song, because the other song was like a real up-tempo thing.
I
You know?
forgot that one.
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
But you did your band.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, that
You
chicken
know, you
crab.
were playing.
That was a long
great
time
tunes.
ago.
Well, that was a lot of fun.
And that's when I met you.
Yeah, we've been friends ever
And we've been
since.
friends ever since.
Now,
And
I
the
wa-
Jerry
I wanna
Swallow,
interrupt
go ahead.
A little bit with Paul, because Paul's a great songwriter. Great songwriter.
Thank you, sir.
Do a little bit of Hall of Fame.
Oh, jeez.
That's a good one.
I got the most nights on the town of anyone that can be found in any honky tonk anywhere. They're all the same, and the record clearly shows I've gone as far as a man can go. 'Cause I just made the Drinkers Hall of Fame. Chorus. I'm in the Drinkers Hall of Fame, and I owe it all to you. Honey, you are the inspiration for all I put me through. I got the brokest heart, I got the most kinds of pain. That's how I made the Drinkers Hall of Fame.
That's That's a great, and you're a good friend, our good friend.
Butch
I was never
Hendricks.
that. I was never that close to Butch. I knew him,
Yeah.
but not like you and Butch. You guys were buddies.
Butch and I worked together. You know, we started working together. We just like you and Albert. You just hit it off right away.
Yeah.
I hit it off with Butch right away. We all, each of us knew hundreds of songs, and we played them, you know, back and
That's
forth.
so much fun.
And then we said, let's try and write something. And I think that was the second song we wrote. And we wrote about 20 songs in a period of a couple of years.
Now, you know, I'm going to tell you why Jerry Swallow gave me that session, why he called you and said
Tell me.
to use me, because he had come to me and said, Carmine, he said, I just got the gig with Tanya Tucker, and he said, I've got to go out on the road, and all I got is a Les Paul. He said, I don't have a Telecaster. Could you lend me one? Remember that blonde one I let you have for
I
over
do.
a year?
What a great guitar.
Gib Gilbo, who was with the Burritos for years, he had that thing for like 5 years on the road with because someone stole his and I gave him that one. It's a 63 or 64 original Telecaster Fender, which is worth a little bit of money these days. And here I let Gib use it. Well, the first guy that I ever let use it was Jerry Swallow. He had it over a year. And I said, well, here, take this one. And he took it. Remember what he did with the nut?
He's the one that changed the nut from a bone nut to a brass nut.
So those of you who don't know, this little thing right up on top, right where my finger is, that little plastic thing that the strings go over, that's called the nut. And what rock players will do, they'll change that from plastic to brass.
And he thought he was doing you a
Yeah,
favor.
he thought he was doing me a favor.
Unbelievable.
So I let him borrow my original beautiful 64 Telly, which was only 10 years old at the time.
Yeah.
But still, it was worth something. And he takes it, and he's got like a year and a half, because he's going to go on the road with Tanya. And then I get it back, and I notice the nut it's a brass nut. It's not my plastic nut. I go, Jerry, what'd you do? Oh man, that's great. That'll give you a lot more sustain. I said, I don't want sustain. I want clean. I want Telly. So when I lent it to Paul, you changed it for me.
I think I changed it back.
Yeah, and I think you spent like $125 back then. That's like $400 today. What do you charge you? And then you had that guitar for quite a while.
I had it for, a year or two.
Oh, me, yeah.
maybe
I knew
more,
it was
and
good.
I loved it. What a great.
Oh, it's still, I got it
Great
at home.
guitar.
I never play it, but it's there.
When
And then
you
Gib
said you-
Gilbo took it with the Burrito Brothers, and he played it.
I think you took
all
it.
over the world.
I think when you took it back from me, you gave it to one of your kids. I think you gave it to Charlie.
Well, I got it now at home, so I took it back
Okay.
from him.
Well,
Anyway, that's
now I
my
can
nut
borrow-
story.
Now I know I can
And
borrow
Jerry
it.
Swallow has passed, 5-6 years ago, whatever it was, he passed away. But he was a little younger than we were.
Jerry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I met him when he was 18, and I was in my 20s. I was 25.
He was probably about my age.
All right, let me jump in
Okay.
here. Let me jump
Go
in
ahead,
here.
because you haven't said
Before we
anything.
figure
You were
out
supposed
what
to MC
kind of
this
shirt
thing.
he's wearing.
Paul and I took over. Go ahead.
Okay, I have a question. You guys fired my imagination a little bit when you're talking about all these stories, and these are all, just so you folks know, these are all guys. I once asked Paul. I said, "Hey, what do you do when you're not playing music?" And he looked at me like, "Are you nuts? I play music. That's what I do." And I felt like, oh, people really do that. Okay, but
Now
it's
I watch my
interesting.
grandkids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
well,
beautiful
that's-
kids,
yeah,
man. Beautiful kids. They really are. But I hear these guys tell their stories, and they, for a while, and I've been hanging out with them. And this musician's life that they've lived, I just was curious, and we could maybe go down the line a little bit. What music has taken you guys a lot of places.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of
Yep.
places.
Yep.
I mean, the miles you put on your cars and the travel you do is like incredible. Is there a place that music took you that you're and anyone can go with this, that you're really most fond of, that you're like, oh man, music got me there. I wouldn't have been there if it weren't for music, for my life.
Well, financially, I can't give it too much credit.
Yeah.
No,
but I mean,
in
like,
fact, because of it, I can't buy anything on credit. But
I mean,
but aside from that,
physical places, like you mentioned that place you used to play, the 900.
oh,
seat
crescendo.
place. So play Palomino. I know Palomino was a
Palomino
big
was a
one for
big
you.
one. I remember the first time, the years I started in the early '70s with Tony Booth, actually late '60s with Gene Davis. But that was kind of like
Yeah, like a.
you appreciate that.
Yeah.
Those kind of. Now I also back before Lawrence Welk owned the Hollywood Palladium, and it was quite a high-class place to play. I played that place with Scott England and the Playboys in 1965. No, it was before the Mickey Rooney Jr. Band. 63.
You've been playing guitar a long time.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm almost 80 years old.
I think you'd be
70
better
years
than you
old.
are,
I
actually.
still can't play it, but I've owned one a long time.
You could play it.
I've owned a guitar longer than most players own it. So,
But Gary, any thoughts? Like,
Well, let me tell you, Tom, I wrote a little song about it.
oh, good. That's how it should go.
I've been everywhere, man. Harry's been everywhere.
No, I've been blessed. I've been blessed to play a lot of places, but there was a great drummer, Hal Blaine, was in the Wrecking Crew, made all the hit records, and he asked me to go to Europe with him. And we were playing in Milan, Italy.
Ooh, sweet.
And we were opening for a band called the Gypsy Kings.
oh, I know.
And when we got off the stage, went back to the dressing room, the guitar player for the Gypsy Kings took me by the arm and started walking me back to the stage. And he walked me behind the keyboard and he went, and I looked over the bass player and the bass player went,
Yeah.
Pepsi?
and I ended up playing the set with the Gypsy Kings.
Nice.
And I'd heard them, but I didn't know who they were, but that was really exciting because they're so original. You know, it's fun when you hear a style of music for the first time.
Mm.
Like I was in New York City when I heard Tito Puente and heard Latin music. Like right there, they were like right in front of me. And it was like, wow, what is this? And I was in San Francisco.
Were you a kid at that?
And I was, well, I can tell you, I was 19 years old.
Were you in school or something? What were you doing there?
No. I was on tour.
Oh, you were touring.
Oh yeah, I went on tour like
19?
16, and I turned 18 in New York, and you could drink when you're 18 in New York, so it really polished my alcoholism. And, but then in San Francisco, I heard reggae music. I became friends with Bob Marley because he was in an apartment down the hall with a bunch of his band, the Wailers. So they were exciting times for me of hearing a music that I'd never heard before. You know, like he was with the Strawberry Alarm Clock. You
Yeah,
see a
tell us a
country-
little about that too.
You know, you'd see a country guy, but we all got these backgrounds and
Yeah.
playing.
And it's cool because most people nowadays, especially younger people, they think, well, I can have access to any music I want. But back then, it was on the radio, the
No.
car radio,
Yeah.
or the radio, and you were getting what you were fed. So to see something would be an odd experience.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't any, there wasn't a Berkeley. There was a Juilliard School of Music, which was classical.
Right.
So what we all did, I'm sure, was learn every record we could get our hands on.
Right.
Just every 45.
We ruined a lot of records.
Records and the
But
But you
radio.
couldn't replay them.
Right.
And
Radio
you didn't
and
want to stop the whole record over to get to the solo part of the hook line or whatever.
What
So
would you do? Just
you would you hit the needle. You would
Yeah.
just scratch. That's what we did.
But-
Mickey and I did. We'd knock it over if you and play it again. Knock
a little more.
before you know it, the record had all kinds of scratches across the groove.
I got a great story about New York. We were in a hotel and we were playing, and after the gig, we all decided to go back to Richmond, Virginia. That's where we were from.
Hmm.
So we took the van that hauled the equipment and we went back to the motel and we decided to take a mattress from the hotel into the van. So like 13 stories up.
What could happen?
And two of us were down by the U-Haul van, or ride, or whatever it was, and two were upstairs, and they were pushing this mattress out of the window. It was in Manhattan between 5th and 6th, 34th Street. We had like this hotel suite, and they're pushing it. We can see that thing like this, and then it opens and starts to fall, and it just kind of floats like this, and it hits the awning of the hotel. Huge explosion. Then it falls on the sidewalk, and we rush it into the van, and we all jump in the van and tear off. Now, we get back to Virginia, and of course, it's not enough time to get back. So we stop in Washington and get on an airplane and fly back. And we go to the hotel, and the key won't unlock the door. And none of our keys open it. And the manager of the hotel, he said, we want $5,000 before we're gonna let you back. And all our gear was in there. And we had a show in like 45 minutes. And they opened the door and there was lamps and food boxes and pizza boxes on the bed. It was trashed out. And we had to send a roadie back to get the mattress. And I don't know how I ended up helping him bring it in, but I'm helping him haul this mattress in this busy hotel through the lobby.
Crazy things.
Yeah,
Place your divots.
Yeah.
New York.
Now, Paul,
Yeah.
back to you just for a minute, because tell us a little about a couple of the songs that you were able to break through and get some pretty good artists to cut some of your stuff.
Well, the first one was probably when I was working with the Alarm Clock, because I wrote some songs for that band, and,
Oh, okay.
and we got some of those songs. I mean, they were released as singles. They didn't do that much, but then we got hired to be the band at the party in the movie Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Oh, that's right.
And we did 3 songs in the movie. One of them was the big hit, Incense and Peppermints, and the other 2 were 2 songs I wrote. One called Girl from the City and one called I'm Coming Home. And so that was
That
kind of
is cool.
That was a breakthrough for me.
And you got a little something for that?
I made a little money
Yeah.
off of that. Yeah.
You
And
know-
then I had I've had songs cut by Patti Loveless.
Yeah, now that's a good one there.
Highway 101.
Yeah, another good one.
Juice
Yeah.
Newton. And
Oh yeah. No, you've made your mark a
You
few
know, I played
places.
with Moses. I did a couple
Yeah.
of records with him in
Yeah,
Boulder.
yeah.
Now you used to work at the Pointer Sisters. Was it the Pointer Sisters?
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad group to hang out
I
with.
don't know.
They made some headway in the
They
music
were
business.
incredible musicians.
Oh, so talented.
June and Bonnie were the creators. They played with Boss Skaggs and all of those records back then, but they were sisters, and sisters sometimes don't get along.
Yeah.
But they were explosive. But you had to watch it. Like, one time in the dressing room, there's curtains separating them. In the dressing room, like sheets.
I'm sorry, how many were it? 3?
4.
4.
Well, originally there was 2. They brought in the third one. The oldest one, they brought in later. I'm sure she doesn't appreciate being called the oldest one. I think she's the only one alive. They all passed away, but I worked with a lot of girl groups. But the Pointers were the most fun because everything we did was a hit, and it was just.
Were you always behind the keys?
I was in a band one time where I played guitar and keys, but it was a rock band, big Marshall cabinets.
Oh,
Okay.
But yeah, keys, man, that was.
Well, I just wrote a song.
Let's hear a little of it. We'll do a little music now. We've talked enough.
I ain't competing with no one. It's just not my style. Can't we get through this together and be happy for a while? You don't have to be a commie to want to even things out. Not every nut's a Nazi. What the hell's it all about? And when the Lord comes to greet me, where's the devil gonna hide? And if life is gonna leave me, I may as well enjoy the ride.
I like that.
Wow.
We're gonna do that on the show one time when you get up there.
yeah, just
You got
do
deep
another
on
one
that
of our
one.
little shows. How much time we got, Kim?
30 minutes. It's
All right, we're halfway through.
Sweet.
Sweating like a pig, pardon my French.
You're not showing. I'm keeping.
I feel good.
I'm gonna jump up and get.
I'm okay.
I feel quite comfortable.
Me too.
I do too.
Gary.
Gary,
Oh, shut up.
we've been having a lot of fun. This is a good group. You know, when I started the Wild Country Band, I always told people, you never know what you're going to get. What I meant by that was, because like all of us, we know everybody in town. We've all been friends with all the good players and everybody at every level. And any one of these guys can call anybody I know, and I can call anybody they know, and put something together and have a lot of fun doing it.
We all know the same people in like this
Yeah, it's all
circus.
one big family here in LA, and we got a lot of great players. We got some that, you know what? Burton told me one time. He said, Carmine, he said, I never heard a guitar player yet that I didn't learn something from. So it really doesn't matter how much you know or how good, what it is. As long as you do it and you're having fun, you probably got a little something to say. You know, if people would just listen, you know, and so I mean, I can think of all the great names. You know, you were talking about some of the things that stand out in the musical thing that we've been doing all these years. One of my big highlights of my life was I went to the Palomino Club to see Joe and Rosalie Maphis play. And I was just going to watch the show because when I was a kid, I idolized Joe. I only had 3 guitar players in my whole life I ever cared about, and it was Joe Maphis, Merle Travis, and James Burton. And those were the guys. And people were talking about Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix. And all those guys are great. They're great. They're great. But I don't want to hear it. I just want to hear Merle Travis, Joe Maphis, James Burton. That's what I want to put in my brain. So I go to the Palomino Club to watch Joe play, and I'm really excited because I love this guy. And I walk in, and the band leader says, "Hey, it's just taking a break." Marvin Cave, remember him?
Don't.
Oh yes,
Wasn't it
yeah,
Marvin
he was
Cave?
there. And
Cave. Marvin Cave.
yeah, Cave, I think like
Cave?
C-A-V, I think like. First name Marvin. He's a good singer. He says, "Carmine, you got a guitar with you?" And in those days, I learned something early. Always be ready. It's like don't leave the house without a spare tire. You might get a flat, right? Never left my house without a guitar and an amp in the trunk, because I wanted to play. And anytime I walked in, if anybody even said, "Hey, would you like to play?" Yeah, I was on it. I said, "Yeah." You know what we had? You know what he had? He was playing rhythm, he had piano, bass, drums, and Carl Jackson was playing banjo.
Okay.
And Carl was just sitting in because he didn't even have a guitar player. So Carl was like, I think, playing banjo, and he says he needed a guitar player. He said, "I got Joe and Rosalie coming up," and he says, "I don't have a guitar player." I said, "I'll play, I'll do it." So here I would go to the Pal to watch Joe, and 20 minutes later I'm on stage playing with the sucker.
Nice.
Man, I was like in 7th heaven. So, and then later on I got to play with him again a few years later at the old Aces Club in City of Industry. He come out and did a Friday, Saturday night, 2 shows each night.
Wow.
And I was in the house band, so I got like
And
that whole weekend.
Who was the house band there?
There was a guy named Bob Caldwell. You should know Bobby, you probably don't. Bobby Caldwell, me. Oh, geez, I don't know who was on drums. I forget. He was the main guy. He was a good singer, good bass
Was
player.
Bobby
He was good-
Caldwell the Bobby Caldwell?
Not the famous one. There's one that's kind of famous. This guy's from Dallas, Texas. He passed away about 3 years ago. Anyway, with all that said, you know, I'll say this to some of the younger players, not that any of the young people are watching this show, but if you happen to be,
my kids
your
are
kids
watching, and my grandkids are watching.
Okay, well, let me tell you this. I don't care what it
They're
is.
pretty young.
I don't care what it is you do. When you walk out that front door, take a little of it with you and be ready, because you never know when the opportunity is going to hit. It might not mean anything to anybody else. Like that thing at the Palomino Club that night, it didn't make me any money. It didn't make me any more famous. But you know what? It did $1 million worth of fun for me. It was like something I couldn't have, there's no price that you can pay that, to walk into that situation. And I think we've all done that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's been just great. And
Sometimes
that's
the most
fun thing
amazing
about
things-
music.
The most amazing things happen are the things that you're not planning.
Well, that's what I'm
you
saying,
walk into,
yeah.
Well, LA is the place.
Boy, that's the place for it,
Well,
yeah.
LA is the
LA.
place
That's
because
right.
all of the greats have a home here. You know, all of them.
I met them all.
I've just the same thing as Carmine. I walked in the dressing room and my friend Guitar Jack said, "Gary, I'd like you to meet Billy Preston."
Right.
And it's like Billy Preston was my idol. Oh. and I ended up playing with them.
Gary, come on, Gary, get up.
Yeah,
Get up.
that was like
Yeah,
that's
Gary,
how
wake
it
up,
was.
Gary. So
I got a
anyway,
chance to play
yeah,
with
playing
them,
music's a lot of fun.
I'm
Yeah.
sitting
It's been
across
more
the
fun than
stage.
anything else.
It was killer. I know that feeling.
Do you want to play a song? You got something?
Nah.
Nothing hitting you?
Paul,
Yeah.
you want to do one?
You want me to do a song?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yes, always.
Do whatever you want to
Do
do.
mine instead.
Where did you go? Why am I here alone? Why don't you telephone? Why don't you write? I'm sitting here wishing you'd come back home, counting the days you're gone. Every night you swore to me I was the only one, but you were just having fun. The joke was on me. Call me a fool. I really did believe that you would stay here by my side. Truth is you lied. I know we said no solos, but play a solo.
Yeah.
Shame on you, treating my heart this way. Someday you're gonna pay for making me blue. Call me a fool. I really did believe that you would stay here by my side. Truth is you lied. You said you'd stay here by my side. Truth is you lied.
Great song. Who did that?
So,
That was a big hit, wasn't it?
it wasn't a big hit, but it's been recorded by a bunch of people. But the thing is, I wrote that with Mark Fawson.
That's one of your songs.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's why it's so good.
And Mark and I had an opportunity to write a song for a movie that he was close with the director of the movie Allison Anders, and the movie was called Grace of My Heart. And the idea of the movie was it was kind of a take on Carole King and all the music that was in the 50s and 60s and the Brill Building and the Beach Boys and all this, and it had a huge, great cast. And so they were looking for songs that sounded like songs of that period. Well, Mark and I got together and said, we got an opportunity here, we got a chance to
Well, do something.
write a song, get it in a movie, things are gonna be great. And we got together and we sat and we went through idea after idea after idea and a little melody, and I was like, no, that's not right, no, that's not right. And it must have been 2 hours of, no, that's
Not
just,
right.
it's terrible, you know? And finally, we were like, you know what? Forget the movie. Let's just write something. Let's see if we can get something written. And I'm looking through my ideas, and I go, how about this, Mark? Here's an idea I had. It's called Truth Is You Lied. And Mark smiled, and he went, where did you go?
The rest is history.
30 minutes later,
Right,
it was done. It was done, the song was written, and it got in the movie.
Yeah, you got it anyway.
Yeah, we got it in the movie anyway. They completely redid it. This great artist named Jill Sobule. I don't know if you know her. She's kind of a folk artist,
Don't know.
and she's great.
That
Anyway,
fabulous guy.
they got her to sing the song in a kind of a style of like Brenda Lee's "I'm Sorry." So they would. Where did you go?
Right.
So
They kind
real
of- yeah.
slowed it down. But the best thing for me was when they cut it. Ray Brown played bass on it. Well, I don't know if you know Ray Brown.
Oh,
He's
I
like-
saw him play live with Bonnie Kessler
There
and
you
Shelly
go.
Mann.
There
at,
you go.
At
So like
Shelley's,
one of the great upright bass
Shelley's
players
band
of
in Hollywood.
all time.
back in 1960, 61.
So-
Bonnie Kessler took us there for dinner.
There you
Me,
go.
Mickey, and BJ. The,
Yeah,
the famous
yeah,
singer.
yeah.
She married
Well,
Bonnie Kessler.
and that's the thing. He was a one of the most in-demand players for live and sessions for decades. And so he played bass.
Oh, Ray
with my
Brown
son.
was, yeah, he's famous jazz bass. We played everything, but he was very
Yeah.
famous jazz bass.
When you
Yeah.
went to dinner with him, do you remember what you had?
No, I just remember I listened to jazz. I'll tell you something else. This is so funny. I was like 15 years old, and he was dating Mickey's mother. They were just dating, and she was dating this other guy named Bob Preston or something like that. Now, Bonnie Kessler had money, and this other guy had money, but he was like a producer, music producer. He really wasn't like a player guy. Kessler was like, you know, he's a famous jazz player and great session player. So Mickey comes to me one night. We're kids. Mick says, you know, I was talking to my mom, and he says, Mom told me, you know, Bob wants to marry her, and Bonnie Kessler wants to marry her. And she's a beautiful woman. Hell, I wanted to marry her. I was only 15.
Is this the singing
Yeah,
woman too?
yeah. It's a singing woman, the one that
Okay.
was Mickey Rooney Jr.'s
Yeah.
mother. So we're having a little kid talk, you know, and he says, now Mom says that, you know, both these guys are doing good, so they can take care of, you know, that's something to be considered, you know.
Good provider.
He said, yeah. He says, now, he says, but she's torn because Bonnie Kessel's the kind of a guy that, like, if the car breaks down, he won't be able to fix it, but he can pay to have it fixed. That's okay. Bob's the kind of guy that the car breaks down, even though he's doing okay, he's the guy that can fix it himself. He says, so I don't know which one to marry. This is what Mickey's telling me, it's the gist of the story. So I say to him, I says, why don't you tell your mom to try marrying the one she's in love with?
What a concept.
Yeah. And he started laughing. He said, you're right. Anyway, she ended up marrying Bonnie Kessel. Probably because he could pay to get it fixed. I don't know. I know they were married a long time and they had a good marriage.
Oh, that's good.
All right, I'm gonna play a song.
Oh, good
This
deal.
This is one of my songs, and I wrote it, and then it became, I guess, too controversial. Pick along with me if you will.
Best I can.
George, you see what they're doing. Let them burn the flag today. George, they don't want to hear from Jesus. Don't want the kids to pray. And George, you're selling all the land. You know the price we paid. But there's still some good news, George. Country folks are here to stay. Red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. In God we trust, He will always be. Thank Him every day for the life to be in America. Got some other things.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
That's a good song, especially
cool.
right now with everything that's going on. That's not
Yeah,
awful.
you know, I could get that,
Very
and immediately a bunch of people could hate me. I could be famous.
You could be. You already are famous. We're all famous in our own little way.
I killed myself on national TV once and got away with it.
You did.
Yeah. You interested? Should we move on, or you
Yeah,
want to hear a
no,
little bit
no.
about that?
Well, yeah, you haven't said. You know,
No.
originally he was gonna be like the MC guy, like, hey Paul, what have you done? Hey, it was, and I took over.
But I'm
Paul.
smart enough to know when to get out of the way and then when to get in the way.
So, but I'm sorry that we
No,
stepped all over
sorry.
you.
No. You
But
have.
now
I've sang 2 songs.
you got it.
I'm
Put the
about
camera on
when
All
you.
right, 19. 2001. That's a long story. Essentially, I was on the
You're gonna
independent.
start it.
I made a documentary. It was a fake documentary. It was on the Independent Film Channel in 2001. The Independent Film Channel was a very legitimate distribution outlet for movies, and I snuck in there and got my movie and that I wrote and produced. In it, it was a faux documentary before all this reality stuff. In this movie called They Shoot Movies, Don't They? You can go look it up if you want. It's all over the place. I kill myself, but it's a faux documentary. So in the end, people were like, to the guy who made the movie, who do you think you were keeping the camera on that man? You should have interjected and gotten away. And the whole thing was an experiment on my part on how a story, how people can believe what they want to believe, you know, and they need to question things. And when I sold it to IFC, they said, well, we don't want to say it's a documentary. I said, don't say it's a documentary, but don't say it's not a documentary. Just put it out there, let people see what it is. We don't want to lie. And anyway, there's a big story behind it, but I went around, I went to New Orleans, a lot of film festivals, and at the end of that, and the internet was just coming in at the time, and so when it first showed, we ran over to the computer, because it was just like, you know, not a whole lot of Twitter and all this stuff, but ran over to the computer, and it was at the IFC site, it was like a ticker tape. It was just, and I knew, I was like, holy crap. We just stuck our finger in the pie right here. and I rode that for 5 years, but I'm a bit of a has-been now because it was so long ago, but it was a nice ride.
You should
sounds like
rename it.
fun.
I
It was.
killed myself, but it didn't hurt.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt.
Yep.
It didn't hurt. And I've kind of broke even on the project money-wise, so no, it was a good experience.
Breaking even's pretty good in most of these entertainment arenas.
Not losing.
Yeah.
You can
It's
break
good.
even. You're way ahead.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Jeez.
Exactly.
Yeah, anyway, so here we are. How much time we got? Not that I wanted to. We can stay a long night if we want, but I don't really care.
13 minutes.
15 minutes? Well, that's
13.
enough time to do something.
Why don't you do a song,
13.
Carmine?
Yeah, you can play some. And remember, let the mic hear you.
No one will ever know. My heart is breaking each time a million teardrops start to flow. I'll cry myself to sleep. Wake up smiling. I'll miss you, but no one will ever know. Tell them we grew tired of each other, and knew our dreams could never be. I'll even make believe I never loved you. TomPaul. No one will ever know the truth of me. Pick it, Paul. One more time, I like that. No one will ever see the tears I'm hiding each time the past comes back and haunts me so. No one will ever know. My heart is breaking. I miss you, but no one will ever know. I'll tell them I found true love with another, and I was glad the day you set me free. I'll even make believe I never loved you, so no one will you'll ever know true love to me.
I just gotta get the last one in.
Oh, that was great. I
That's a
love
good
that
song.
That's
It's a
nice.
great song.
Good
I felt
song.
that one. I felt that one.
You wrote it?
No, yeah, I felt it.
Oh, you felt it somewhere. I did
Yeah,
too.
I like that.
I don't know where, but somewhere it got felt.
You
believe
sing
me.
that one great.
Yeah,
Carmen.
you do.
Oh,
I've
man, we
never
gotta-
heard you do that.
We gotta put that in the, put it in the.
I'm gonna start
regular-
doing it on the show.
Yeah.
I was watching some of our old shows from 3 years ago. It's
Yeah.
been over 3 years now we've been doing this damn thing. And it was in May 2020 we did our first show that month. And I think it was our second show. And I'm watching it, sounded pretty good. I think, man, we're outside at the shop at
Yeah.
my place of business, a little smaller set. But yeah, man, we were cutting it. It was good. I think Cody was with us back then. Anyway, I sang that song. And I hadn't sung it since in 3 years. Until just now, I just forgot about it.
Beautiful.
And so that's why I did it. I thought, no, that song sounds okay. I think I'm gonna start doing it
Oh,
again.
yeah.
It's a good song.
Good
And,
one. I like the song too.
I'll tell you, the guy inspired me to sing it, and I don't even know who wrote it. I know it's a very old country song. Brantley Kearns.
Oh,
He did it on YouTube. He did it, and he played a fiddle solo.
Oh.
I mean, I was watching it, there were like tears running down my face. I mean,
Brantley.
this guy sold it. The way he sang it and played it.
You know, Brantley became famous kind of for his fiddling with Dwight Yoakam.
Dwight, yeah.
But he's a singer. I mean,
No.
he sings so
He
great.
sings really good.
His
And we
voice
were
is
so
fantastic.
honored last year to have
Yes.
him and Cindy Bell
Yes.
and what's the other guy?
Lance, I think.
Lance,
L-E-E?
come up.
Brantley?
Brantley.
Brantley Kearns was.
Oh, Brantley Kearns,
yes.
okay.
That's one name. Brantley.
I didn't
Okay,
know
got
that
it.
he even sang.
Oh, he sings
He
so
sings
good.
great.
He's as good
That's
as anybody.
amazing.
Yeah.
He
Did he
could-
sing with Dwight?
He could do.
I don't
Maybe
know that
maybe
he ever-
harmonies, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe once in a while, but
Anyway, Brantley, we love you. I think he's doing okay. I know
he's hanging in. We should go visit him.
We should.
He's
We're
he's
looking at a couple of acoustics to go
Yep.
and let him sing a few.
Yeah, and he's right here in
Like
Sunland,
Sunland,
Sonoma.
down the street here.
Yeah.
Well, get him over here.
Let's get together. Well, we did. We had him
Yeah.
here a few months
We
ago.
either get him
maybe
out here
last
again,
year.
or we should go see him.
And he got up and played and sang, and we had a little bit of fun.
I met him with Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pete
yeah.
Anderson.
Yeah, apparently he's great. Anyway, that's where I got that song from.
You want to play? You want to play us? I think we're close. So I'd go all night too, but we got to think about the people.
7 minutes.
Oh, we got plenty of time.
7 minutes.
7
Shit,
minutes.
we could talk about
Damn.
anything we want.
I got
Can
at
run
least
around the
8
block
minutes
in
more
7
worth of
minutes.
stories to tell. But I like what Cody said last week on the show. He was going to tell us something, and he says it's about a 20-minute story, so I'll cut it down to 15.
Cody,
Cody's
we need,
funny.
Cody's freaking funny.
He's a
man.
funny
We need to
guy.
stick a mic on him because you can't always hear when he's talking in his comments.
He's pretty laid back. He's just
Yeah.
having fun.
Yeah, if he had a mic, he might clam up.
When Cody and Jimmy Harris were doing all those gigs at Beaver and everywhere else, those two together were just hilarious. Just ad-libby,
Yeah.
they're so witty, and Jimmy Harris is just hilarious.
Can you
Just
remind
like Jimmy.
people one more time of the show you're doing with Jimmy and Carrie? When the dates are?
Oh, yes, that's the 5th and the 8th of August. We're going to be up at the Ventura County Fair, and Cari Caruso and Jimmy Eaton, they're married forever, and two very good friends. And Jimmy was our steel player. I consider that he still is. I just kind of changed things around. I got Gary on piano right now. I'm getting a little tired of that. So maybe we'll bring, we might bring, we might bring Jimmy back. I don't know. I'm going to see how I feel next week. But I'm just kidding. He knows that I love him.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
What does this have to do with us?
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, continue.
I don't know what I was talking about.
You were
Oh,
talking-
yeah, the Ventura County Fair.
That
Yeah, you
cheap
got it.
plug that you keep.
So, yeah,
putting
Cari
in there.
Caruso's got this band, the Black Rose Band, and I love what she does. She always shows up with like a bucket full of black silk kind of roses, and I guess she buys them and does something. And every time we do a gig, the girls that are there, so like she'll hand them out to the little kids or to the ladies in the audience. It's just like a little thing she does, which I
It's
think
not
is
a
kind of cool.
trip by the cemetery, is it?
Yeah, no, could be. But Jim, we love Jimmy, we love Carrie, and we'll be picking together up there on the 58th of this month.
Okay,
All right.
that's all great. Anyway,
Are you on that gig?
I'm not on that gig, no. I'm not,
Well,
I'm not
we
part of the
were-
Black Rose Band.
You could have been.
Yeah, you could.
Maybe someday I will.
Say something about ISeeHawks. I see them online.
Oh,
ISeeHawks,
man,
and they're
great
great,
band.
Yeah, it's a good band. We are going to do a little tour in Northern California next month. I don't think it's the 5th and the 8th. I think it might be after that.
August.
Oh.
But it's in August, and we're going to the Mendocino area and Sacramento. We got a gig in Sacramento, and we got a gig near Santa Cruz.
Good.
So
That sounds like a fun.
it's
little
going to be a
area.
fun little
Well,
tour.
I saw him on YouTube a couple of times, and I just
Yeah.
love that bit. And you know, I mean, this is kind of just with this little show here that we do. It's just what it is. But I would be honored if those guys ever wanted to come up and we'll just give you the stage for a little while
Oh, yeah,
and
we'll-
let you guys play.
We're going to do it.
If the guys are interested, I'd love to. I'd be
Yeah,
honored to have them
that's a
come up
good-
and do our show.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
we're
I
gonna
think
do it.
that'd be great.
I'm in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Cooperstown.
Yep.
You're
But you
in
know
the-
what?
for what?
That's the truth. I'm not going to say. Because I want people to tune in the next time we do this, and I'll explain how I'm in the Baseball Hall of Fame. But I'm not going to say so now. I'm just not.
Okay.
It's a cliffhanger.
I never knew that about.
No,
Were you-
I don't.
were
I
you
don't
a-
walk. I don't run around
were
talking
you a
about
veteran?
myself.
Well, we're here to do that, though. If
Exactly.
got
You guys are
something-
opening up. I'm on too.
Well, you got to open up more and say I did this and I. Cause that's how people get to know you. They get to know what we're doing here.
I assume you were a Veterans Committee selection.
No.
Oh.
That would have been nice. Not quite that. I don't know. It's
What
not
do they
quite
have,
that.
some
We'll
kind of
find
a-
out next
It's a
week.
little technical, but it's also real.
It's like, I know I'm lying, but what do you think?
I figure they must have some kind of a senior citizen
They do.
division or something, and they put him in.
They do. They do. No, it wasn't for my.
What?
It was, but it's true. But it's not quite that flowery.
Oh, and I gotta tell. Oh, I want to say hi to Lily and Fender in case they're watching.
Oh.
Jason's
Yeah.
in town with his lovely wife
Oh.
Tess
He's
and
in
Lily
town?
and Fender, and of course you know that. 'cause
I don't know him.
Well, call Joe, you and
I don't know him.
Tom and Jason are like brothers.
I don't know this guy.
In fact, I met Tom through my son
Jason,
Jason,
he's making it up.
and
I don't know.
yeah, they did a lot of work together.
Now he
So
was
anyway,
there when I slept across America.
Yeah, this guy.
I could go on
Oh,
forever.
we-
You slept across America?
Yeah.
Well, we talked about
You
that in
wasn't
the
there when
first
you
show.
killed yourself, though.
No.
Well,
no.
we have enough time to do a capsule report on that one.
Well, we no.
Tell me what you did, just in a nutshell. Jason was one of the cameramen.
Jason, and
There were two
he
cameramen.
was a very encouraging guy along the
Yeah,
way.
I'm sure he
Basically, I got a Winnebago, a polysomnogram
Listen,
guy, camera crew, a Breathe Right sponsor, the earplug sponsor, Howard Light. I had the mattress was Select Comfort. I got a bunch of sponsors to help me pay for it. And when I fell asleep in Malibu, and the machine said he's asleep, we rolled east. When I woke up, we marked the spot, and then we went around, did TV and interviews and stuff like that. And then I came back to that spot when I fell asleep, and they put the stuff on me, and they said he's asleep. We rolled east. So effectively, without being on a plane, I slept the span of the country, and I had a great experience. But I shot
I
it.
still don't remember any of it.
I shot. That's the thing. I had this camera crew. Jace was one of them, and I got all the footage together, and I started editing, and I started looking at it, and I look. There's nothing interesting about a guy who's sleeping across America. I don't care what you do. It's just
And so
not-
I asked him on the last show that he and I did alone by ourselves. I asked him. I said, "Did you ever find Jason sleeping like when you were supposed to be sleeping, and you gotta wait for your cameraman to wake
He
up
was sleeping
so
on the
you
job.
can go to sleep?" Or
I was
something
sleeping on the
like
job. He went, but yeah. No, actually, the truth is, those poor bastards, guys,
That's
they
right,
didn't,
they
they
worked their
didn't get
butts
any
off.
sleep, and they worked their butts off.
Well, listen, that's about it. We're a little hot up here. You know, last week, because of the bees, we did a little rerun. This week, I said, I want to go on with the guys and just shoot the bull, have a few laughs, play a few songs, and get to know a little more about everybody. So we love you guys for watching. Keep watching the show. If anybody ever wants to send any little donation or anything in to help pay for the light bill around here, that wouldn't hurt my feelings. But I don't normally ask for money. I never, ever do that. But tonight I did. Anyway, we love you guys. If the bees are gone next week,
Don't turn it off.
we're going to be back with the full show. And if they're not gone next week, we might do another one of these, or maybe we'll just do a rerun. I'll see. But God bless you all. Tell a friend. Oh, like my son Charlie says, push like, push share, right?
Yeah.
Like and share, that'll get the word out for Carmine's Country Corner. TomPaul Wilson, my very good friend. Paul Marshall, Gary Swan, we all love you, and we'll see you next week.
Let's play.
Yeah, you got it.
Living on the road, my friend, is gonna keep us free and clean. Now you wear your skin like iron, your breast as hard as kerosene. You weren't your mama's only boy, but her favorite one it seems. She began to cry when you said goodbye, and sank into your dreams. We'll take the second verse.
Sure. Pancho was a bandit boy, horse as fast as polished steel. He wore his gun outside his pants for all the honest world to feel. Pancho met his Nachilo in the desert down in Mexico. Nobody heard his dying words. That's the way it goes. All the federales say we could have had him any day. We only let him slip away. Out of kindness, I suppose. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Great job, guys.
That was fun, Carmen.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we will do it again.